So as you pursue compensation, we should be also having parallel mechanism on accountability. But what irks many Kenyans is the silence on accountability. We are not seeing the policemen, their commanders, who are responsible for the units that committed atrocities. Over 100 Kenyans were killed. Tone-deaf silence on the question of accountability. No one is mentioning the quest to hold these officers to account. And you are pushing for compensation, which, as I've said, is an entitlement to the family, but it is not enough. Because there is no amount of money that can replace human life.
Okay. Well, a very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evans Okinyi, and I'm glad that you're here with us. Of course, this fine evening, I'm here with my resident guest, Wakili Willis Otieno, the Deputy Party Leader of Safina Party, as well as he calls himself here the Deputy President Designate. Is that still the case?
Yes, the People's Deputy.
The People's Deputy. 10 days to go before we have your mega event of Safina Party, of course. You're having a national delegates conference.
Yes, Safina 30.
Okay.
30th year anniversary of Safina, fighting for economic liberation of the people of Kenya. And we do believe now the ship is ready. The ark is ready to sail. And people are invited to enter the ark two by two, the righteous. Those who want to save this nation from the economic pain that Ruto have taken the Kenyan people through. The time has come when we must deal with this economic issue. It's time for economic liberation.
I want us to first of all begin this show by paying tribute to fallen soldier, of course, the former member of parliament for Rongo constituency, Dalmas Otieno Anyango, of course. How much do you actually know him? Did you actually interact with him at any point in your journey?
Yes, we did interact with the late Mheshimiwa.
What could you say about him?
And he was an amiable character, down to earth. I mean, even despite the age difference and even exposure that I had with him, I met him first, I think, around 2008, 2009. At that time, he was a member of parliament and a minister. And he was a very amiable personality. You'll feel comfortable when you are with him, and he'll talk to you in a very respectful way. So to his family, we pray for God to give them strength and to see them through this trying moment. They may have wished that he stayed longer, but it is God's decision to call his son to be with him. And we do hope that they'll be able to come out of this stronger, but to cherish the times that they had with Mheshimiwa.
What is it that you can actually remember Mheshimiwa Dalmas Otieno Anyango with?
The main thing was, the time when I talked with him, was the Minister for Public Service. And it was more to me his concern to try to professionalize the civil service and the manner in which he wanted the civil service to be an institution that works for the people. And that was his key passion. He was a very solid administrator. But I know he did a lot of things in his constituency, Kageso Secondary School, so many projects that he initiated.
And of course, Rongo University as well.
Rongo University as a stellar project that is there, supporting the people of that region, and Kenya in particular, in general. To just open up people's minds, give them opportunities to go to school. So he will be surely missed for what he contributed to the betterment of humanity.
Okay. What about his political journey, how he moved all the way? And remember, there's even a time that he came up with his own party, the Kalausi, to challenge the dominance of ODM down there.
You know, and that is right. I mean, everybody has a right to pursue their political path. And I do believe all that was informed by a desire to create alternatives, and the general objective is the best interest of the people. So that was his right, and some people may not have been happy with those choices or those decisions.
Yes.
But in a democratic society, we must accommodate everybody with their chosen political path, even those who are supporting Ruto. It is their democratic right to support a failed regime, and we must respect that decision to support a failing regime.
Well, may the soul of Honorable Dalmas Anyango rest in peace, and we wish comfort and fortitude to the family members who actually lost one of their own at this trying moment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the conversation here. Wakili, there's been a conversation about compensation, and I've seen a lot of information going around. First of all, it is indeed true that human life is priceless, but then owing to the fact that we've had all these injustices committed against the people, the call for accountability has been loud and clear, but then we've not seen any fruits yet. And so the president decided to come up with a task force that would ensure that the victims of these brutal acts have actually been compensated. What then do you make of this particular step here? Because we've seen a lot taking place and going on within these particular circles with regards to the compensation of victims of police brutality and what has been characterizing the political landscape of this country for the past 1.5 years.
You know, the most important thing that we must appreciate, nobody is against compensation. But compensation cannot be the first port of call. Because human life cannot be compensated. There is no amount of money that you can say can equate to human life. The first step in transitional justice is normally truth finding. The second step is accountability. Holding to account those who committed the atrocities. The third step is compensation. Okay? The problem that we have with William Ruto's approach is that he wants to lift the third step, which is compensation, over and above the first two. That is conmanship. Because if you don't deal with accountability, then there is no guarantee that in future there will be no repeat of the same. Compensation is just to assuage the soul, at least wipe the tears off the eyes of the families or the victims. It is not a substitute to accountability. So as you pursue compensation, we should be also having parallel mechanism on accountability. But what irks many Kenyans is the silence on accountability. We are not seeing the policemen, their commanders, who are responsible for the units that committed atrocities. Over 100 Kenyans were killed by police bullets, not civilians. Maimed and killed, mowed down by police bullets. And there's nothing going on about accountability, holding those officers to account for the deaths, or even their commanders, including the IG, for these deaths. That now we should accept compensation and ignore accountability. What compensation is enough? Now you are going to compensate the family of Denzel Omondi, quantity surveyor graduate. You dragged him from his safe zone, killed him, and dumped him in a quarry. That was the beacon of hope in that village. What amount of money can assuage those villagers? Not enough. It cannot. Even if you gave them 10 million, it will not. Because Denzel is gone. But at least if they saw that the units responsible or the individuals responsible for the death are being taken through a criminal justice process, then they also receive their compensation. Their soul may be at peace that indeed crime doesn't pay. Albert Ojwang was picked from, was picked in Omabi right at the doorstep of his mother, preparing to have a meal. Dragged all the way to Nairobi and killed in a police cell. When you go back to that family and tell them, now this compensation, forget about it, then it makes sense. The structures that enabled Albert Ojwang, Denzel Omondi, Bensley Kamau, and 100 others to be killed are still here. We are demanding for accountability.
Okay.
The units and their commanders must be called to account for these deaths.
So we are talking about accountability, but we're also talking about compensation here. Is there a specific order in which these two things could actually take place? Because I'm seeing a situation whereby the accountability side is left for the security agencies and, of course, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to ensure that all those who are culpable are brought to book. But on the other side, when you talk about compensation, then it should be actually be spearheaded by the very government. Under whose watch these things happened here. Is there a specific order in which these things should actually happen?
You should start with accountability. Then you go to compensation. But even if they start with compensation now, what are they doing on accountability? That is the gist of my argument. They should be telling us that we've opened up these following investigations against the following police officers. So even as their investigation and prosecutions will be done, the compensation can continue. But there's tone-deaf silence. Tone-deaf silence on the question of accountability. No one is mentioning the quest to hold these officers to account. And you are pushing for compensation, which, as I've said, is an entitlement to the family, but it is not enough. Because there is no amount of money that can replace human life.
Okay.
And since the perpetrators are still alive and operating here in Kenya, they should be called to account. They should be tried.
So basically, there's nothing wrong with compensation as long as accountability also.
Exactly. What is wrong is trying to use compensation as a substitute to accountability.
Talk to us about the role of the LSK President Faith Odhiambo. We've seen her come under criticism for accepting to be part of that particular task force who's been mandated to ensure that these families are compensated, of course, following appointment by President William Ruto. Is there anything wrong with her taking that particular role?
Not to the extent that you are raising the issue of Faith Odhiambo, President, and other many Kenyans are doing it. It should tell you something. It tells you that there was high hope amongst the people of Kenya on what Faith Odhiambo as the President of Law Society represented. People had high hopes on her. People had seen her as a beacon of truth. And she was a focal point that was out helping to defend them against the atrocities being committed by the William Ruto administration. So that is why there is so much response on her decision to sit on that compensation panel. Why? Because they had hopes on Faith, that Faith will be our voice always. But Makau Mutua, for example, was appointed chair. No one cares about Makau Mutua. Nobody had any hope in Makau Mutua in the first place. He does not represent hope in anybody. So there will be no public scrutiny or discussion of his appointment like it will come when Faith is appointed. There was no expectations from Makau Mutua, but there are high expectations from Faith or to Faith on how she's supposed to relate with the administration. So you find that the public does not own or does not feel that this panel on compensation is going to give them justice because they are not seeing the question of accountability. So they don't want their faith to abandon ship and pursue compensation without accountability.
But is that the case really? Is she abandoning the...
No, because as it is, the panel of compensation has been set up. There is no similar panel on accountability. Yeah.
But we've seen the LSK come forth, and these are the things that they've actually been agitating for at the same time.
It's what I'm telling you.
Accountability and compensation.
The panel that has been set up is panel on compensation, not on accountability. You will expect both to be set up together or one panel to do both. So that accountability and compensation to go hand in hand. What we have is a panel on compensation alone. So when you see the public outcry on Faith, is that they're just saying this was our voice on demanding for accountability, which between the two, compensation and accountability, the people hold more the accountability panel. That's the one they want more than even compensation. So if you think compensation will substitute from accountability, I'm sorry.
I haven't saw one of the lawyers write a letter to her and request her to actually decline that particular appointment. I'm like, what's the problem here? Because the lawyer is arguing bringing about the role of the Human Rights Commission here at the same time. and the role of this particular compensation committee, saying that this commission is illegally constituted. Is it illegally constituted?
Compensation can be done without setting up a panel. That is one thing must all agree. You don't need a panel to compensate. In terms of database of those who are injured, those who are killed, it exists. Kenya National Commission of Human Rights documented all those reports, and they issued to us all the situational reports as they were happening. So if I wanted, for example, to meet with the families, I will do it. You can easily look, Kenya National Commission of Human Rights will tell you these are the victims. So it exists, and many other organizations. So this panel, what will it do that is different from what Kenya National Human Rights Commission has done? Maybe at a policy level decide how much the quantum, or what is to be paid, which again, the executive can do it. You don't need a panel to do that.
But what is the legality behind it?
But it is just in fact, you can call it an advisory committee. It is not a statutory body.
So legally, the president is right in setting
it's not a statutory body, but it is a body that is being given functions to perform, which in the act establishing the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights forms part of their mandate. Yeah.
This is not the first appointment that Madam President, of course, has received from the President of the Republic. The other one was on the other task force that was meant, or rather the panel that was mandated to do some sort of an inquiry into, would we call it, audit the public debt, of course, something that has been you've been very passionate about here. But she declined that one, and I was wondering, at that time she gave us the indication that there is already a body that is mandated to do that particular work, and therefore any other body that would be constituted by the president would be illegal, and she would not be part of an illegal establishment. And the Kenyans are now wondering what's now the difference with this particular one. But then at the end of the day, we have to get a solution here. So
that's a genuine concern. You know, in between, Faith was appointed to a task force on femicide, again by the same administration, and she served in it. People didn't raise an issue on it, and they even concluded their report. This one, ask yourself why this one is raising a hue and cry. And it tells you, and also ask yourself the question, what was William Ruto's fascination with appointing Faith Odhiambo?
Yeah, I'm actually wondering.
It's not like she's an expert in transitional justice, that she's been working in that sector. She's the only expert in it. No. She's just the president of the Law Society of Kenya. And she's sitting there as president, representing the people's voices. She's a champion of the people in demanding for accountability. That is what she is. She's been a champion demanding for accountability on behalf of the people of Kenya. Then you ask yourself, why this fascination by the administration that it must be Faith? We are over 20,000 lawyers here. Why didn't they even just say Law Society of Kenya nominee? Then the council will nominate a lawyer who is even a subject expert on transitional justice to sit in that panel. Why Faith Odhiambo? Why not even the vice president?
Somebody would say you're reading too much.
No.
Okay, so why do you think it's her?
With my political eye, it is meant to dilute a public goodwill. That is what the administration is doing to my dear sister. They are diluting a public goodwill. She has managed to be a beacon of hope and a stellar representative of the people's interest, the common good. And she had stood steadfast in speaking truth to power. So the power is not comfortable. Their response is to find ways in which they can dilute her voice. And on this particular instance, I think they've succeeded. Because now you have many people questioning and raising doubts about my dear sister. That is what William Ruto wanted.
Okay.
I don't think that William Ruto's committee could not have functioned in terms of giving compensation because Faith is not a member of that committee. Our absence in that committee would not have stopped compensation from being paid. So it has got nothing to do with paying compensation. I'm telling you.
So you're seeing it as a bait, and
it was a bait that was meant to divorce her from the critical public masses that she represents, that see her as their voice. Now her voice is silenced. When she comes back to speak to the masses, they will not listen to her as they were listening to her before. Because within that mass, there's a group that is now doubtful as to a commitment to their cause. And that is what William Ruto wanted. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with compensation. Compensation can be paid without Faith Odhiambo sitting in that panel. I may not even be surprised if that entire panel, all of it was just about catching Faith. And unfortunately, they've succeeded. But I always say, even if they catch Faith, there'll be another Faith who will be born, who will rise to the occasion.
So it would be catching Faith and then to a larger extent cripple the functionality of the LSK as well?
It will not cripple the functionality of LSK. LSK is an entity that has over 20,000 membership.
Okay.
There will be another voice that will emerge from the society, or even from the Kenyan society, who will occupy that role.
Okay.
And even Faith herself, who said she's cashed out? Maybe she's not yet cashed in. She may just go there and still disprove those who think they are trying.
Some people are actually wondering, what is it? Because you want these things done, and then when people go there to do them, then again you're complaining. That is at least
the point is, people are not complaining about compensation. People are saying, why are you pursuing this compensation before you deal with accountability?
Okay.
So deal with accountability, compensation will follow.
Okay.
Don't use compensation as a substitute to accountability.
So we are dealing with a state here that is actually struggling with its international image and even local image here within. And of course, it has come under some sort of watch by even the United States on how the country has been handling people and things to do with human rights abuses and all that. How much do you think of a pressure is the US in terms of this that is actually now leading President William Ruto to try do some of these things in order to repaint, wash, reimagine and recreate?
Of course, even in the national platform, when people are questioning Ruto, some of the people being quoted will be the Law Society of Kenya and its president. Now he's getting a breather. He can go out and say, look, I've even set up a panel of compensation, vice chaired by the Law Society of Kenya president. So the administration is doing something. When in actual sense, there's nothing they're doing. They're actually shying away from the bigger issue of accountability. Okay. Because it's about, we should never have a recurrence of this. And if you don't deal with accountability, then you are still promising us that there'll be more deaths. Your structures of killings still exist. And they'll never be called to account once they commit these heinous acts. So it's trying to also cleanse his image internationally. And Faith was a prize catch. That he can now go there and say, people, like when you go into Unga, he can say and say, look, we even have the Law Society of Kenya that is part of a panel to make sure there's compensation. The country has reconciled. When we all know there's nothing that has happened. Okay. The greater thing, which is accountability, has not been attended to. Waste of everybody's time. So
we are looking at a country that is actually struggling, or rather a government that is struggling to cleanse its image. And of course, there was also the information about hiring of a firm to ensure that the public image of the government is actually recreated. Is this cleansing actually possible from your own point of view?
It will not. The sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. And the Kenyan people are the ones who have given their verdict on this administration. Yeah. There's no amount of PR that will cleanse shift share. There's no amount of PR that is going to cleanse the failed school capitation program. There's no amount of shift share that is going to cleanse the high cost of living. So, it's a waste of time. There's no amount of PR that is going to cleanse debt. When every year you increase for people taxes, charges and levies. So
for you, the deed is done.
It's done. Done. It is finished.
Well, that is according to you, but the president is saying, look, we are doing the right thing to make sure that the country is on the right trajectory. Ladies and gentlemen, weigh in and tell us, what do you think about the government's recent attempt to ensure that the victims of police brutality and of course the relatives of those who lost their lives in the recent events in the country have actually been compensated? And of course, we've delved also into the inclusion of Faith Odhiambo, the LSK president, that has actually caused a lot of outrage here in Kenyans wondering what next for her after she accepted the appointment by President William Ruto. Allow me to stop for now. Weigh in and tell us what you think. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.